love your stuff, mate, but most of your viewers can't afford these prices. Can we get a video on deals that the average person can afford, say sub 10,000 or 5,000? Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back to What's on My Desk. And as you guys know, here at LB, we like to showcase big, expensive, rare pieces that tend to be zip codes for prices. But today I decided to do a couple of things. I decided to show you some watches that are, again, sub that $10,000, $5,000 mark, but also to show you that even celebrities wear watches in that price range. So it's not always about the price, it's about buying what you like first and foremost within the price range you can afford. And this is something I've been preaching since the beginning of this channel. Now, a lot of things go into the factors when a watch is priced, starting with things like brands, complications, what metal the watch is, how prestige the watch is, how rare the watch is, how old the watch is. A lot of those things come into play. So let's get right into it. The first watch is the least expensive of them all, the G-Shock. It's extremely affordable. Every G-Shock out there is what? Around $100, give or take, right? Some less, some more. Let's go back to 1983. Super Mario Brothers introduced as a video game in Japan. As well as Motorola Company introduces the first mobile phones. Well, I believe they were about that big. And a guy at the Casio factory happened to have dropped his father's pocket watch, which broke.
No! God, please, no!
Which right away told him, said, wouldn't it be great if I can create a watch that would be shockproof and not break when it drops? And that's when the G-Shock was born, which actually stands for gravitational shock. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what G-Shock stands for. This is a watch that you get down and dirty, and rightfully so, because it has 10 elements protecting the quartz movement. Shock resistant, water resistant, rust resistant, mud and dust resistant, can withstand extreme temperature, anti-magnetic structures, and it uses a rubber bumper around the movement. And it utilizes that super secret alpha gel, as they call it, which is a silicone material that protects against chemicals, UV rays, and also helps absorb some vibrations. That's a lot in a $100 watch. Now, this thing is marketed to be the most indestructible watch on the planet. If you guys follow my friend Nico, he ran one over with a McLaren. Wanna play that clip?
And it's still working.
You see what I mean? He also hit it with a golf club, and it was still ticking.
Oh my God. It's completely fine. They call it scratch-resistant glass for a reason.
As he likes to call it, it's
God tier.
And even though this is just a relatively cheap $100 watch, its popularity is insane. You got guys like Kanye West wearing this thing. You got Eminem wearing this thing. You got Lil Wayne wearing this thing. You got Roman Sharf wearing this thing. That's right. I have a G-Shock on my wrist, aka the Casio, because I happen to like AP as well, so that's the G-Shock I chose to go with. And when I go skydiving and mountain climbing and rock climbing, this is the watch that I wear. I don't really do any of those things, but this is the watch I would wear if I were to do all those things. But in all seriousness, this thing comes in so many different colors and variations and functionalities, etc. It's a quartz watch. It's super accurate, obviously. It doesn't require a whole lot of maintenance with the exception of changing a battery once in a while. It's so versatile, and that's what I think makes Casio a super popular choice, I would say, in that $500 and under category. Next up, Omega Speedmaster. And once again, we borrowed Nick's watch, it seems. This time it's on a yellow strap. Go Nick, nice strap. Kinda like this.
Nice.
Not gonna get into super details on Omega Speedmaster. There's a million videos out there. I've done quite a few videos on Omega Speedmaster. Omega is a super popular choice among collectors, 10,000 and under, sometimes 5,000 and under. You can find a cool pre-owned Omega around $3,000 to $4,000. Why is it so popular? It is history. It has the chronograph, which is one of the best and most popular complications in the watch. And again, price. You can pick this watch up relatively inexpensive. Like I said, it's a watch that gets a ton of respect from the collector community as well as Hollywood. Ryan Reynolds said it himself, don't take my word for it.
I just fell in love with the Speedmaster.
Tom Hanks. I mean, a man made a movie with a volleyball by himself. So if you were to ever make a sequel, being stuck on the moon, it'd be the perfect watch. Of course, you got the most eligible, well, used to be the most eligible bachelor in Hollywood up until when I got married, and then he got married, George Clooney. And of course, you also have Bond. James Bond. That came up corny as hell, didn't it? Daniel Craig, right? He's another one. Did you ever hear him say Omega?
Omega.
Omega. Anyway, so those are the guys you're going to see wearing those watches, among with many other celebrities out there. Next up, let's talk about the Jaeger Reverso. Jaeger doesn't get a lot of love from collectors, and it absolutely should, because Jaeger is extremely important in the watch world. They have created over 1,200 movements for pretty much every major watch brand out there. They're sort of low-key undercover. Also, the reason why their watches are priced reasonably, because they're able to make their own movements. They don't have to go out to other guys and buy them. Right? If it wasn't for Jaeger, our watch world landscape would not look the way it does now. Go back to 1833 when a self-taught watchmaker by the name of Antoine LeCoultre, some say LeCoultre, some say LeCoultre, and whatever you want to call it, started his own company. 1930, a year after the market crash and the Great Depression here in the United States, he came out with what's called the Reverso, which is the watch that I showed you. And the way this whole thing came about is a friend of Jacques David LeCoultre challenged him to make a watch that could protect the glass of the watch during a polo match. So what did he do? He said, I'm just gonna flip the whole damn thing upside down. Protected.
Thank God.
Now think about the times. A very sleek Art Deco design, right? We're still in that Art Deco era. I actually happen to have a LeCoultre from 30s, and this is what it looks like. Now, since from this watch to that watch, the actual case has changed numerous times. There were more parts added to the actual case. I actually did a whole video on the history of Reverso. Check it out. It's on one of my What's on My Desk, I believe. But size-wise, certainly a big difference, as you can see. Over the years, popularity has gone down, maybe because of the Art Deco design. Designs were changing, watches were mostly round, and they kind of stopped making them, I believe, in the 70s. Or in the very least, they limited the production. They made very few of them because, again, nobody really wanted them. And who saves the day? One of my idols in the watch world, Max Buser, who came to work for Jaeger LeCoultre and said,
immediately now.
We're gonna revamp this entire Reverso thing.
Your value stays the same, you're still valuable.
And he introduced a concept called the duo face, which means that now your watch was not just made for protection. Now you had one watch face on one side, another watch face on the other, so if a polo ball hit it, cracked, but nobody cared. How many people even play polo, Chelsea?
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
This was back in 1994. They kept developing it, and then in 2006, I believe, Jaeger shocked the world with yet another new innovation, and that was a three-face watch. So the triptych is what they came out with, where you had functionalities on one side, functionalities on the other side, and functionalities on the inside of the case. That was the triptych. And in 2021, which was actually last year, for the 90th anniversary of the Reverso, doing is they made a quadriptych. And this is a watch that now had four faces. It was their crank complication. And mind you, all that is driven by a single movement. It's not very affordable, doesn't fit within the topic of this particular What's on My Desk, but it's certainly one to read up about it because it's extremely important.
Do you understand how important that is in our world?
If you take just an average plain Reverso, it'll probably set you back anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000, which is actually pretty insane for a model that's super iconic from a brand that's extremely important in the world of horology. Let's talk about celebrities. Jay-Z wore it to the 2021 Grammys. He wore the ultra-thin tribute to Reverso, which was the 90th anniversary I just mentioned. Matt Damon wore that watch on the cover of GQ.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
How about Christian Bale as Batman? He actually wore that watch in the movie, the entire movie. And it kind of fits. It's that dark Gothic Art Deco-ish feel to the watch, right? Also, got a dual personality, right? Definitely a fit for Batman as far as I'm concerned. Last on this list, I'm gonna go with that other Rolex, right? Tudor, also founded by Hans.
This is Hans.
In the flesh. But it was produced to basically make more affordable tool watches. Guys, remember what Rolex was all about, or what watches were really all about. There were tools, especially guys like Rolex. This was a real tool watch. So they said, okay, wait a minute. The tool watches we created with Rolex kind of got expensive. We can still keep the same appeal of Rolex, the same quality of Rolex, and give people the confidence of the quality of a Rolex, but scale down the price a little bit and pick up that market that could not afford Rolexes at the time. So starting in 1926, Tudor originally produced a lot of dive watches, which were used by professional divers as well as the military. And it was in the 50s that Tudor actually adopted the Rolex self-winding movement for its oyster case. The brand had its ups, it had its downs, but in 2011 they stopped selling in the United States as well as UK due to unpopularity. People couldn't really get over the hump of, but I don't want a Tudor, I can just get a Rolex, right? They were somewhat close in price. Rolex was actually still available for purchase at most authorized dealers, not like today, and kind of died. So what did they do in 2011? They hired David Cherrato. He was the new designer, he completely revamped the brand, and the popularity skyrocketed once again. Why? The guy said, I'm just gonna take the new Tudors and design them based on old Rolex models. And Rolex is the most popular brand in the world. Why not? And because their Tudor is still associated with Rolex, it's not like they can say, oh, wait a minute, they just went and copied Rolex.
So you're a copycat.
Well, they are Rolex, so that worked out. 2012, the iconic Black Bay came out. That solidified popularity of Tudor on the market. And as they say, the rest is history. David Beckham is a guy that wears Tudor. Lady Gaga, which was the first lady ambassador for the brand. And it's funny, with David being an ambassador and all, you can still spot him wearing these things everywhere casually, right? I mean, I know some of these ambassadors have to have so much wear time with a Tudor, but he's always spotted everywhere wearing Tudors, so obviously this is something he likes. I've always said, if you can get paid for doing what you love or the love of a particular watch, then by all means. By the way, 𝗿𝗏𝗧𝗃𝗀𝗽, if you're listening, I love your watches. You don't have to pay me, just give me the watches. Will Smith has been spotted wearing Tudors. Good thing these things are shockproof. And even the very famous watch collector, well, I should say singer first, watch collector second, John Mayer has been spotted wearing Tudors. By the way, you know, I sold a watch to John Mayer, so it was a pretty rare Patek, and I know his Patek collection, he could probably buy the entire lineup of Tudors with just the one Patek he has. But it just goes to show it doesn't matter how much money you have. You buy what you like, right? And obviously, John Mayer loves Tudor just the same. So there you have it, guys. There are plenty of pieces out there that are affordable, and the reason I decided to tie them to celebrities is just to show you that it's not about how much money you have, it's about how much you like something, buying what you like first and foremost, because a lot of these quote-unquote cheaper watches that I showed you today are worn by celebrities out there, and we live in that culture where we tend to read the tabloids and see what these guys are wearing, right? But I wanted to, again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out some of my other What's on My Desk that I did earlier, where I talked about the history of Reverso, where I talked about Omega, where I talked about the history of Tudor versus Rolex, etc., etc. Other than that, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe button, bell button, whatever other button that helps this channel grow. And I'll see you guys next time on another edition of What's on My Desk.